Seriously though, everybody's just bantering back and forth. Seems pretty fun. Good stuff, guys. Keep it alive. StarCraft dead game, right? Alright, so we have Chesapeake coming in as the second player from ValidG Gaming. And he will be facing Abstructa. I will give them a proper introduction once the game is started. But to lay the groundwork, Abstructa now in his second game after defeating Dante, and Chesapeake being the second player because Dante defeated the first player, Bunny, before that. So now we are at a 1-1 scenario. Spawning in the bottom right, it is the Zerg player for ValidG Gaming. It is Chesapeake. And spawning opposite in the top left, it is our pink Terran for Guns and Roaches, Abstructa. Nothing too spectacular so far. Nobody going for any immediately apparent cheese. I know Chesapeake is probably watching closely at Abstructa because he did do a pretty powerful cheese in the last game. So checking his natural to make sure there's nothing there. Probably going to float his Overlord into his third to make sure there's no proxy there either. Taking a pretty standard 16 hatch. Or 16 pool, rather, just to be safe. I'm liking the build coming out of Chesapeake. He is keeping himself safe against anything possible that might be early that he just hasn't accounted for. That he's going to just say, I'm going to build some lings and a couple queens, and I should be safe against almost anything he can throw at me early. Reaper being started for Abstructa. And rallied across the map. Whoops. Into the natural and then shift commanded into the main. Oops. Expansion coming down for Abstructa. Everything pretty standard, pretty normal. So far. Reactor coming down for Abstructa. Once again, pretty normal, pretty standard. Queen coming out. And most likely speed will be researched once he has the gas for it. Reaper coming in here. There's no lings right now to defend against the Reaper, so we will get a free drone. Unless it is morphed into an extractor, which it is. Ling spawning now. Moved down to the natural and missed the Reaper. Reaper moving along the back of the mineral line. Doesn't want to engage the queen. He just keeps moving. Shuffling and jiving and shaking through the base. Sees the lings and decides he's just going to move on out of there off creep and then possibly turn around and engage. But no, he just wants to heal up. He got his scouting done. Back home he goes. Behind this, another barracks and a factory have been added. And Marines are being produced. There is an Overlord in a somewhat vulnerable position. And he does see it with the Reaper and moving forward to capitalize on that. Now, Chesapeake will have to be careful with his Overlords because these Marines are going to be hunting for them, but he looks like he backs off. Wary of the possible speedlings, which speed is halfway done, just over halfway done. And the third is down for Chesapeake. So he should be able to mount an offense with these now 12 more lings morphing to add to his 4 existing lings very soon. A wall is being constructed for Abstructa. So assuming both players do what they're supposed to do right now, this attack should do a little bit of damage, but probably not amount to too much because the third is not down, it's not exposed. And assuming that a wall off happens here, which it is being constructed, these Zerglings won't be able to do a whole lot of damage. There are no Banelings. There is a Roach Warren coming down. And more drones now, and the Zerglings haven't moved out. So I'm thinking that he's just going to use these as safety lanes. Which is smart. Two medevacs being produced. Stim is on the way. And it looks like 3 Marines at a time are being produced. Third command center going down just as the third hatchery for Chesapeake is finished, but not quite getting saturated yet. Now moving out right at the 5-minute mark with this 211 timing. It's just a few seconds late, but he did have to deal with a little bit more in the beginning, so that's completely understandable. And he's taking a very nice position here, moving in from the bottom angle, going straight towards the main, which the lair has not started. It's actually in the natural, so it has been started. So he's not going to be able to snipe a lair, but he will be able to possibly get a lot of drones here. This Zergling position to see any move-outs, does not see medevacs. Stim is complete, but combat shield is not. It is on the way. And right into the drone line. 16 drones should be able to go down here. Backing off, not quite. Does move back to the mineral line and gets hit by the banelings and doesn't get the pickups in time and does get cleaned up. Now the medevacs are not going to get killed, so he will be able to add them back to his army. And back at home, he does have another, 16 Marines? 12 Marines? Queen spreading creep for Chesapeake. Out of his third and out of his natural, which is encroaching on the mid-map position now. So we should be seeing a little bit of aggression out of Obstructa to try to deal with this ever-expanding Zerg. Evolution Chambers coming down for Obstructa, and 1-1 is started already. 1-1 is started for Obstructa, and Evolution Chambers are coming down for Chesapeake. Baneling speed being researched. Concussive Shell is being researched on the opposite side, and Marauders are being produced. Fourth base down, and half completed for Chesapeake. This will be pretty happy for him. Be a pretty good investment for him. Moving forward, should it not be taken down very quickly. There is a macro hatch as well, going into a massling style here with the banelings. Morgoth has a free bird. Probably shouldn't show that in public. But I get you, bro. Wall being constructed between these new barracks being added at his third and the ramp going up. And the Marine Marauder medevac grouping is moving towards this fourth base, which has no saturation at it, but will still be quite a loss should it go down. Now, Obstructa's Lings are not even 1-1 yet, but he is getting Overlord speed, so he looks like he's going to want to be... Oh, sorry, that's Hydralisk speed. My bad. He's getting Hydralisk speed, so he will be diversifying his army soon. Loses the hatchery, but will he be able to get the army? No, looks like he backs off. Okay. Scouting with this Overseer up in the left, or up in the top left. So he sees the third, but there is a fourth down. I don't think he's seen that yet. No, he's not aware of the fourth yet. Lots of medevacs with tons of energy to heal up this army. And it looks like a miss rally is going to scout for Obstructa at least, as our Zerg friend hasn't seen these units yet, hasn't responded to them. He might be able to actually do a little bit down. Oh, there we go. There's the response, and he'll clean this up basically immediately. A 5th base going down now for Chesapeake, and a 5th base going down opposite for Obstructa. Melee and ground armor have both finished upgrading for Chesapeake, and it looks like he has immediately started his +2/+2. So good. He is going to be trying to keep up as much as he can with this Terran's ever-growing upgrade advantage. Sorry about that, guys. I'm a little bit sick today, having a little bit of trouble. Excuse me. Gonna have to have another lozenge, I think. Now, the Zerg army is pretty decent, but it doesn't have very many Banes right now, if any at all. There's all the Banes. Okay, the Banes are being used as defense, and the Zerglings are being used right now for at least threatening attacks. Not quite attacks yet. Yeah, splitting off some to go for a run by. So this should do quite a bit of damage. And then into the mineral line it goes. But there is army available for it. Oh, the whole army gets stimmed and brought back. A little bit of an overcommitment, but that's okay. We won't fault them too much. There's lots of energy on this medevacs. Only 4 drones go down. Or only 4 SCVs, rather. Now, Chesapeake is nearing max. He's getting very close, but Obstructa has basically hit max already, with no siege tanks in sight. So there isn't a whole lot of splash damage here to deal with this mass link style. I think he's just going to be relying on the speed of his 3/3 upgrades and just the pure damage of this ball of bio, which isn't a light amount. It's a very heavy amount of damage right there. With a good stim, he could take out this whole army in a matter of seconds. Moving towards that 4th base again, favoring the use of this high ground. Scan shows him that the army is splitting up. And in it comes. The sim comes forward. There's a pre-split, but there's enough banelings to clean this all up. The medevacs have to get out before they are taken down by the Hydras. Now, Obstructa is not entirely out of this, because he is producing 22 Marines at a time. During his max out time, he seems to have added just a crap ton of barracks. So it looks like he will max out again after this, almost as fast as Chesapeake will be able to max out. The better income is still coming in for Obstructa as well, as he is mining more efficiently and has mules. Yeah, Chesapeake is just not taking advantage of his mining opportunities right now. And is falling pretty far behind in the gathering of income. So Obstructa is maxed again. He maxes while Chesapeake is at 170 supply. So this is looking pretty bad at the moment for Chesapeake, as its Terran has a out of control economy and can just remax almost immediately. The splits happen, but I don't know if they're enough. There's a lot of banelings coming down, and I think that he spent too much time splitting and not enough time killing. And he is going to lose his whole army. You know, that being said, he's already almost back to the same supply as Chesapeake, and given, there we go, he has just passed it. So that's pretty incredible. Now, that doesn't mean the army supply is larger. The army supply is still larger for Chesapeake. But it is pretty incredible. That's a fast remax that this Terran has. It's with pure bio, so there are definitely limitations to it. But as a cool little bio style, it's not too bad. You definitely get some fast maxes out of it. 200 supply again, and still smaller army supply just because he has way more workers. Working on 88 workers, which is just going to give him just an unstoppable economy. And even though he's not necessarily winning these engagements, he is grinding down the Zerg. And all he needs to do is change up his tactics just a little bit, and he should be able to start doing damage. Now, that being said, 3-3 is almost done for our Zerg buddy. And Ultralisks are on the way. At least one Ultralisk is on the way. So this is going to mean that this Zerg army is going to become much, much, much more potent. So even being behind on workers, which he's now building more, we're up to 63 workers now. Almost an ideal amount. But leaving the option of having a much larger max still. So there is that. This Zerg army is going to be much harder to deal with coming into the next fight and the next fight after that. It's a large stim too, with only one medevac just to clear creep. I think that Abstructa is feeling the pressure a little bit right now. The model cannon being researched. And no BCs being built right now, but Yamato cannon. Doing a pre-split with these yellow health Marines and Marauders. So it's not necessarily the best thing to do here. I'm going to take this engagement with the stim. Try to move back. There's just too many Banelings. He's going to lose everything here. So despite his rather huge economy, he's finding himself getting run over by the Zerg here, who has now got to basically the ideal amount of workers and is going to quickly pass our Terran and workers and kill off all this production. And it looks like this is probably game for the Zerg, as long as he doesn't just suicide his units into this planetary, which he probably won't, because he definitely has enough to kill it. Now, Terran has a ridiculous economy, but just not enough army and not enough tech for his army. So it's a little bit of a sad situation. Here we are. We're left with a booming economy, but just nothing really to stop this 3-3 Zerg army. Mules are called down. Manor mules. Just a little bit of cheekiness from our Terran player, who knows that he's probably out of the game but still wants to try. And what's calling those mules down is a way to say, I'm not done yet. Although I don't know why you call down mules in your opponent's face to say I'm not done. But, you know, it is what it is. It's fine. BCs are out. Yamato is online. Who called in the fleet? It was Abstructa. He called in the fleet. 4 BCs in production at a time. Vehicle upgrades coming down. Ship level 3. So these BCs will be nigh on invincible. And let's see if... Is there a Spire? There is a Spire. So there is the possibility of Corruptors, but I haven't seen any yet. He's still working with just Hydraling, Baneling, Ultralisk. And a single Zergling is working away at a... There it is, at a supply depot. You know, he'll get some damage done, but opening the door and letting him in to kill that SCV. Not necessarily the best, but here's what's really going on. It's a BC versus everything fight. And the BCs aren't doing too badly, actually. They cleaned up all the things that can hit them back. So now they're just going to Yamato the crap out of these Ultralists, which is pretty darn effective, I gotta say. Teleporting over, because that's what they do. Losing the base, but that's okay. Still have BCs. They're basically another base. It'd be cool if you could mine to a BC. You just like bring SCVs with it and then collect minerals and give them to the BC and use it as a town hall. That'd be pretty sweet. Blizzard. Alright, Blizzard, are you watching the stream right now? These are the ideas you need to be talking about seriously in your business meetings. You need to say, Activision CEOs, we need to change the BC again in StarCraft so that it's a town hall, so that you can mine to it. And the Blizzard and Activision CEOs will be like, why didn't we think of this? Why don't you just take our jobs? Why are we even here? In go the Lings, but who cares? There's BCs in the air. Whoop, up goes the supply depot. But there is an armory there, researching vehicle and ship weapons. He doesn't want to lose those. But the Lings do move out. They're looking for SCVs. They're looking for things that they can kill. And the BCs are fighting a horde of Corruptors and losing, because Corruptors, as it turns out, are really good at killing BCs. In other news, Lings attack things. They're doing that right now. Right now they're not. They're just running around, but they will. They will be attacking things again. This game's gotten a little weird. It's kind of gotten into that section of the late game where both players are just kind of making decisions. Doing what they feel seems right at the time. And it might be right, it might not be right. But that's okay. Because we're having fun. This is StarCraft. This is StarCraft. This is what we do. Yamato cannons on the Corruptors, trying to take them out with the BCs. It looks like the BCs are well upgraded, but just not very good at killing Corruptors. They do kill the first flock of Corruptors, but the second flock comes in. He's going to target down the red health BCs. As the Zerglings chop, 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 munch, munch, munch at everything as they do. And GG well played is called, and Chesapeake takes game number 3.